I'm like looking at my game and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't fix that thing, and oh geez, that's still broken, and well, now that's a new bug that's happening. And I've been working on my enemy class for so long. I just want it to be done, but it's not. The plight of a game developer. Welcome to my indie devlog this week. If you're new on my channel, I just talk about game development and any and everything related to game development and share my progress as I go through my first video game creation. This week I was just finishing off the robot enemy that I made. So I made its bite attack last devlog, and this one I have given that bite attack proper damage dealing. Additionally, I added in the robot to my enemy spawning system, so they now spawn along the entire level that's auto-generated along with the other robots. So you'll get a mixture of flying enemies and walking enemies, so it's a little bit more diverse. In addition to that, I did the robot death animation and gave it a hitbox and fiddled around with it a bit to make sure that it dies appropriately. I was gonna get it to land on the platform when it dies, but I was having trouble with the physics simulator, like turning it on and having it collide with the ground and stop there versus not, or was it gravity? I'm not sure what the problem was, but I decided, okay, I'll just turn on gravity and it will fall, and then after it falls a certain distance, I'll just delete the game object and it works fine. I also tried to, again, fix the revive code that I had for my robot. I had this cool thing where if it dies and then you walk in a certain range, it comes back to life and can attack you again. It's still broken. I don't know why, it's just not really working anymore, and so I fiddled with that for a while and then I turned it back off, and wow, this sunlight is making me look pale as heck. After that, I decided to listen to what everyone is telling me to do and animate some of the plants that I have in the background of my game. It actually took more than just animating them because they weren't built as prefab objects. I had done this weird thing where I would take the sprite sheet and I put it in the resources folder, and I guess Unity scripts I found out have access to this resources folder, so I basically just gave it a folder directory to look inside, and every sprite sheet that's in that folder, it would take the sprite sheet and load each sprite into like an array of sprites, and then it would just pick a random sprite from that array and generate it with like an empty game object that it would attach it to. It was a really roundabout, weird way of doing it, but it was like 2 months into me learning how to do any of this, so I respect the fact that I found this strange, convoluted way of generating objects. Anyway, I replaced that system with just I have an array of game objects that I can drop prefabs into, and if I want to add more, I could just expand the array and drop in more, and then it'll just choose between all those prefab game objects. So within the prefab game objects, I was able to create an animation for each different piece of flora and then got them to generate in the game just like how they were generating before. Except this time, they're wibbling and wobbling. I started streaming again on Twitch. I have no more excuses not to stream. I thought maybe my internet here wasn't good enough, but it is. It's great. I'm a little choppy when I stream, but that's okay. People seem to not mind so much.
What? You just subscribed, Liam? You're my first ever subscriber. Thanks, Liam! What the heck? Podku? Thanks so much. That's so exciting. My face hurts from smiling. Oh my gosh.
On that stream, I did some animation of these different flora and fauna. I decided to use what I learned about inverse kinematics and bone rigging, and I did some plant boning, as I like to call it, and I made all my plants kind of able to sort of wibble and wobble as if they have little spines in them, which is a creepy thought actually. And it was super fun and interesting, and it took a while, but I got it done. I didn't do all of the plants yet, just because each one took about like 30 minutes. That's sort of what happens when you're chatting to people on Twitch.
Looks pretty good.
I really want to make a tutorial on this inverse kinematics 2D animation system that I'm using. It's part of Unity now, just like a new package that got integrated with Unity. It used to be called Anima 2D, and so because I've just been using it so much, I'm familiar with the specific steps that it takes to make a spine animation, which means it's like a bunch of bones that can bend backward and forward. For the spine animation, or the CCD I believe it's called, you can do up to 10 or 12 bones depending on how many are in the chain, and that way you can move one bone at the end and all the other bones will kind of like follow along, and this is a really accurate representation of how it looks. I'm excited to show you now my little showcase. You can see the bats spawn, the robots spawn, the plants are wibbling and wobbling. All the robots and the bats as well, they do damage. I did make a death animation for Bronto, but I'm just so good at this game that I don't die, which also means that the game's really easy at this current point in time, but his health is going down and he does eventually go kaput if he gets depleted to 0 health. I know that it's very not obvious to tell when Bronto gets hit, so I know that I'm going to have to program some kind of like recoil. So that's gonna probably happen maybe in the next devlog. Additionally, I have been working on something that I'm going to share with everyone. I made a little asset pack, and I've been sharing it on my social media, and I will give you a sneak preview of it right now. So it's a bunch of items that would appear in an alchemist's office. I just felt particularly witchy one day and I wanted to draw a bunch of these things, and I thought, why not give it away to all the people who watch my videos and follow me on Instagram and stuff. So that's gonna come next weekend. I will release a video on the process of creating it, and also a link to where you can find it and download it and use it in your game, or just for fun. One more thing, I made a little thing on my blog. My blog is called Game Devoid, and I made a little thing called resources. And so it's a page where I've listed all of the resources that have been helpful to me so far in my game development journey. I probably missed a bunch, but this is what has come to mind so far. Hold on, look at this goat. He's just walking around buying. Anyway, so I made a resources page on my blog, and I'm gonna be posting more stuff on my blog these days. It's a wonderful world when there's so many fun things to do and build and make. So thank you for being part of this journey, and I hope that your game dev journey is going good so far. And if you haven't started yet, you can start, or you don't have to. Maybe just do some art, maybe just code a thing, maybe just download a course or something like that. Okay, giving you so much love. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Okay, bye.